Well, welcome back. We're going to do all sorts of fun stuff today. But to get started, I want to pretend that we've had a problem. So I'm going to come here to my instances. And I have this instance that I made, globbing. I'm going to pretend that had a problem and it's dead. This happens in real life, but also one of the reasons it happens is because we as people make mistakes. And if you're going through these videos, you're going to get to some videos that edit things in your home directory, change config files like with SSH, and they can break your system. So I want to prepare you for that. Also, I would much rather you break your system as you're learning rather than on the job a production system. It's not fun. So we should play and learn and break things in the learning environment rather than at your work in a production environment. So instance state, terminate or delete the instance, terminate, delete. So you can see it's shutting down. It'll sit here and say terminating for a while. AWS has a job that goes through and clearing them up every so often. So I'm going to launch an instance since that one's dead. And I'm going to call this a new day. A new day. Okay, same with Linux. Kernel's fine. T3's fine. Main key pair, and I'm going to use the existing security group that created last time, which is Launch Wizard 1. I should really go in and name this something better, but I just don't want it to create a security group each time. This is like, think of it as a network firewall. So I'm going to leave it at that one. We're going to play with that later, but in the video series. But okay, cool. Launch instance. So it's launching. And if I come here, here's my public DNS. I can just click that to copy it. By the way, if I come back here also to instances, I can see this one's terminated, this one's running. Cool. By the way, if you're using Learning Lab, like I am, or even if you're using your own account, there's going to be a limit to the number of instances you can run. It's a soft limit. It's there so that if you accidentally give your system to hackers because they get your password and stuff, they can't spend too many thousands of dollars before you notice. It's not fun. You don't want to pay for the hacker to use your system to attack other people or to mine Bitcoin. You don't want to do that. So protect your account. And AWS has some things in there to protect it. Now, if you get close to hitting that, so in the Learner Lab, it's 10. We can have 10. Outside the Learner Lab, you can ask for that limit to be increased. You have to create a ticket and justify it, but it's something there that's there to try and keep you safe and from losing too much money. But Amazon's more than willing to let you grow beyond that. They just want to make sure that you know what you're doing first. Okay? So, keep this clean. Get rid of stuff you're not using anymore. If you're not using the Learner Lab, and even if you are using Learner Lab, you're kind of paying for it. So in the Learner Lab, I have $50 free for every course that I create. So I'm using $50 for this. So far, I've used, it hasn't even registered. Still at 0. So I'm not too worried. Okay, but let's come back here. Oop. Let's see, paste. Hopefully that's the right one. And I haven't seen this before. Happy day, and I'm in. Sweet. So I talked last time about clear. I really like to use that. It just cleans things out, gets me to a good spot. I often use print working directory as well to know where I'm at in the file system. You should be a little bit familiar with file systems too. Oftentimes you have to change directory. Let's go to the root of the file system, which would be / the very beginning. In the beginning, there was slash. Now, if I print the working directory, I'm at slash. If I type in ls, I can see what's there. At this stage, you should have looked at if you went through my earlier videos, should have looked at a wiki page that talks about what these are used for and have a general idea what they're used for. I also like to use commands in specific ways. Okay, this is a little more useful than just ls to me. In fact, I like that is even better for me. By the way, I just used ls. Which ls am I using? Well, that's a good question. Which ls? User bin ls. What about which? Which is just an alias of, looks like user bin which. Okay. We used cd. Let's check where that is. Which cd. So if you notice, most of these are in user bin. That's because it's a standard. That's where they should be. Let's introduce you to another command. Who am I? EC2 user. Later on, we're going to be introducing you to who mom likes. Oh, wait, who mom likes. Who dad likes. These actually give slightly different information, and they're useful when you get later on. Right now, we are at the slash. If I want to get back to my home directory, there's a really easy way to go cd tilde. And now I'm back at my home directory. There can be multiple users on this system. cd tilde will take you to your home directory, whoever you're logged in as. If I want to create a file, we've already learned touch. So I'm going to touch a file. So now, if I say ls, I can see there's a file there. So, by the way, I did that in my home directory. If I come back to root and touch another file, permission denied, because I, as EC2 user, do not have rights to do it. Almost everything here is owned by root. Root's the admin. Sudo. Well, let's do this again, because I want to do it. Well, yeah. Sudo touch another file. It worked. That's because sudo is switch user and do, and by default it does admin, which is root. So if I do ls-l, here's another file and it's owned by root. If I do ls-l in tilde, I can see a file is owned by EC2 user. I did sudo, so this is owned by root. We're going to get more into that, just introducing you at this point. We'll get to that later in the video series. There's so much to learn. It's hard to know the best order for someone to teach it, to learn it in. That's one of the things that I really try. Just giving you little bits and getting better and better. Okay, so I created a file at the root. I do ls. Well, let's see. If I do touch this and that, it's not, oh. Touch this and that. Permission denied. Sudo, I can also do bang bang, which says just do the prior command, okay? So I did sudo touch this and that, ls-l. There's this, that, and. By the way, if I hit the up arrow and go to that bang bang, it actually shows touch this and that. It doesn't show the bang bang. Can I remove this? Yes. No, it won't let me. Sudo rm this. That worked. Rm that. Yes. Won't let me. Sudo bang bang. It let me. So sometimes if it won't let you do something, you can sudo. Just make sure you know what you're doing, because it's meant to kind of protect you so that you can't make mistakes. That's why we don't just log in as admin all the time. Remember, we talked a little bit about manuals. So we can man sudo. Execute a command as another user. Gives us some more information there. By the way, I like the name and the description. I don't like this as much. You might. We might be different people. I can scroll up and down and go through things. I sometimes look at these, not always. Sometimes I use a blog. Shoot, you could use an LLM now to try and help you understand things. Or sometimes you know what you're using, or maybe an LLM or a blog gives you something and you want to understand what it does. You can come here and see what it's doing. Okay? Man that's the manual to help you understand how to do things. Now, I like tree, but it's not installed. So we're going to yum install tree, and it won't let me because I need to be root. Sudo bang bang. And I didn't do -y this time. It's so that you can see what happens when you don't do -y. So it's going to go through, find it, says, do you really want to do this? So that's where the -y doesn't ask you. It just does it. So now I can do tree. Tree is really cool, but that's a lot of information. So let's do tree user local. So that's a little better. So we can see user local has a bin, an Etsy, a game. So here's a bunch of stuff that it has. Okay. By the way, if I do /l here, if you notice, some of these are different than others. So these blue ones are normal folders, the dark blue. The light blue with the arrows, these are fake folders that point to these. Fake, they're links. I think of them as fake, but they're links. This is a link to this. This is the real one, and this is just pointing you to it, okay? And then this has some special permissions. We're not going to touch on that yet. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. Now I can cd into my home directory, pwd, make sure I'm there. And let's make directory user, and we're going to, not /user, user local. Okay. ls cd user local. ls, nothing there. I am going to quickly copy everything from user local into here, so I can make a backup of it so I don't destroy it. Okay, so I'm going to copy, and I like to use -pr. P is like preserve permissions and R is recursive, so it gets the top thing and everything underneath it. And I want /user user/local. So I'm using the fully qualified path and everything in there. And I'm going to put it in my user local directory, which I'm already there. So I'm just going to use dot. But I could also use I could use the whole path. Okay, so now if I do ls, there's a lot there. I can do tree. There's a lot here. Cool. Now, that's a lot. So I'm going to go up to directory. I can do tree. I can see everything's there. Sweet. What if, okay, the user local is just a copy of my user local, /user/local. So I'm going to move user local to junk. Okay. Sweet. It's all still there. Move just simply does a quick rename. It's not copying the files. It doesn't take it that much time out. It's just changing a name. Let's see. We need to do a little bit more with make directory. So pwd. I'm in EC2 user, so I'm going to make directory, and let's do testing. And come into testing. And what if I want to create a big directory structure? So I can mkdir, and I can say -p. Well, let's do it without it. This is a test. Doesn't work. No such file or directory. That's because, let me just do this, ls. Nothing's in here. So I wanted to create this with a folder is that has a folder A that has a folder test. So if I come back here and I can just say -p, which is like create parents as well, bingo. So now I can do ls and I can see this. I can do tree and I can see this is the test. Now sometimes I want to make a bunch of folders in a single directory or files, mkdir. And I can do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. ls. They're all there. I mean, I could also do mkdir. I can't type today. H .z. There we go. Two different ways to do things. Okay. For that matter, I could do mkdir 1.500. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But it's also a mess. So if I cd ... tree testing, yeah, it's kind of a mess. So let's just rm testing. Doesn't work. rmdir testing. Doesn't work. So those are both valid commands. rm will remove a file. rmdir will remove a directory, but it's not empty. So I need to do an rm-rf testing. This is a dangerous command. Let me tell you why. rm removes, -r says recursive, which says this and everything below it. And f says force it. Make it go away. This command can ruin parts of your system if you're not careful. Okay? Especially if you do it with sudo. I know someone, or of someone where I used to work, that ran this command at the root of the database server and destroyed the database. And to make it worse, the backups weren't working. Not a fun time. Anyway, there's my history. I'll put it down below. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's keep learning. I'll see you in the next video.